Buckle up, buckaroo!
Hey guys, welcome back to my main channel. So if you have not been on social media and or you live under a rock, you may have missed that Caitlyn Jenner is running for governor of California. She has launched her campaign. She is hoping to become the country's first transgender governor. Some may say transgender governor. Now, there is a lot to cover in this video, ranging from the absolutely delicious hot takes from both the left and the right, who are weighing in on Caitlyn wanting to become a governor, a Republican governor of California, my own personal experience with Caitlyn, and if I would or wouldn't vote for her. So let's get into it. So full disclosure, I'm going to say before we even jump in, I personally wanted Caitlyn in this video with me talking to me. I wanted to interview her. I wanted to get into it. I wanted to know what the hell is going on. And we are currently working on making that happen. So definitely leave in the comments below if you want to see me interview Caitlyn Jenner. I think that'd be epic. So Caitlyn has launched her Caitlyn for California campaign, seeking to knock out current California Governor Gavin Newsom from office. This is amidst the brewing recall effort to replace Gavin Newsom. He is a very hated figure in California, depending on who you ask. You either love him or you hate him. I personally hate him. And it's rare, but when a governor is so shockingly bad at their job, so hated, and seen as so incompetent by enough people, they can be recalled. So a recall vote is allegedly supposed to happen, sparking Caitlyn to weigh in and want to take him out. Now, I just have to say, I love this story. I love that Caitlyn is running for governor. I love it because it's very much serving chaotic energy. And you know, California is a wacky place. There is a precedent for celebrities running for office here. We had Arnold Schwarzenegger as governor at one point. So yeah. And another reason why I absolutely love this story is that it has generated such an insane salt mine from both the left and the right. Caitlyn is running as a Republican, which is definitely an uphill battle in a blue state like California. And you know, whenever you see trans and Republican in the same sentence, people's heads are going to spin. Twitter, of course, has a lot of thoughts. Democrats won't vote for Caitlyn Jenner because she's a Republican. Republicans won't vote for her because she's transgender. She doesn't stand a chance. So this is a pretty common sentiment. I'm seeing people saying that that kind of cancels out both ends of support. But it'll be really interesting to see if it actually shakes out that way, because crazier things have happened. And there have been people that were counted out from the jump that ended up winning Trump. And honestly, I'm not seeing such a unanimous hatred from the right toward Caitlyn. I think it's more of a mixed bag. You're definitely getting the hatred, and we'll get to that, but it's more of a mixed bag than I think some people might think. Some tweets, never in 1,000 years, I think I'd be saying I agree with, or that I would be voting for Caitlyn Jenner. I truly hope you win. I'm finding more common ground with Jenner's politics than I ever thought possible. But of course, you have the people on the right who just cannot see past the trans part. So these are comments under an article just objectively reporting that Caitlyn's running for governor. Jenner is a boy and he has no male genitals, but he has the XY chromosome. That makes him a biological male. Wow, Jim Johnson, that's an amazing observation. We're so glad you passed science class. Any thoughts on her actually running for governor? Bruce Jenner remains a man with the same male chromosomes in every cell of his body that he was born with. No doctor or politician can change those chromosomes. Again, these type of comments are interesting because they're not actually talking about her running. Bud Spencer weighing in with the hot take, well, many Republicans are commies as well. It's a disease that spread beyond party lines. Now, this is hilarious to me because it's so interesting how people will see the word transgender and equate it with something like communism. Now, don't get me wrong, there are transgender communists. Caitlyn Jenner is not exactly the communist hero you might think she is just because she's trans. Watch this clip and tell me if this is a communist speaking.
I believe in little things like the Constitution and freedom, and, I believe in minimal government. I believe in the people of this country to get us out of the trouble that we're in, more than I believe the government's going to fix this.
Now, what gets me is that so many on the right will tout that identity politics are wrong, identity politics are ruining the country, you should never vote based on identity politics and care more about policy, which I personally agree with. However, it's a bit hypocritical then to say that you're not voting for someone purely based on their identity, even if their policies and ideological positions line up with yours. Especially when you think about the fact that all throughout 2020 and now 2021, people have been complaining so much about Gavin Newsom, which I completely understand the complaints. He's done a lot of things that I heavily disagree with. He's really decimated the state in a lot of different ways. And that's a whole other video. But, you have someone saying, hey, I want to reverse some of these awful things Gavin Newsom has done, and y'all are like, no, because she's trans. So now on to the responses from the left, which are equally as ill. Caitlyn Jenner is living proof that you can be anti-LGBTQ while being LGBTQ. Now, interestingly, I can't think of anyone who has done more charity work, donated more money, done more to help actual like trans people in poverty, trans people on the streets than Caitlyn Jenner. You may not hear about it, but if you look for it, the information's out there. She's been on television paying for trans people to go through college.
Must be Matt.
For 19-year-old Matt Pasquera,
Thank you for coming.
Pleasure meeting you.
So nice meeting you.
meeting Caitlyn Jenner was a dream come true.
I want to give you a check for $25,000.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're quite welcome.
She's pulled trans people off of the streets. She's like, when I met her personally, we'll get into the full story of like my interaction with her in a second, but she went on for hours about how much she was doing to help trans people off of the streets, to help trans people who are victims of violence. When I met her, she was flying out to the Pentagon the very next day to talk to them about how to help trans people. So you don't have to like or hate her. I'm not sitting here trying to white knight for Caitlyn Jenner, but what I am trying to say is she's not proof that you can be anti-LGBT while being LGBT. It's proof that y'all will call anyone anti-LGBT for the smallest amount of ideological difference from you. Has Caitlyn made mistakes? Yeah, but guess what? That's what humans do. So Fallon Fox, the transgender MMA fighter who stirred up a bunch of controversy when she cracked the skull of her female opponent within seconds of being in the ring, weighed in on Caitlyn, saying, "You are such a traitor, Caitlyn Jenner. Don't you know how testosterone blockers work?" This was in response to Caitlyn saying that she does not support the inclusion of trans women in women's sports. And I think it's just so funny that Fallon Fox, of all people, weighed in when she literally cracked her opponent's skull within seconds, like I said. Clearly, Fallon Fox actually doesn't know how testosterone blockers work, because testosterone blockers do not reverse male development. They only prevent further male development. And considering Fallon Fox allegedly transitioned as an adult, you don't know how they work, Fallon. You don't. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Now, here's the thing. You do not have to like Caitlyn Jenner. I'm not sitting here trying to say, vote for Caitlyn, vote for Caitlyn. What I am trying to say is that a lot of the criticism of her running is ridiculous. Caitlyn really has not come out and laid out all of the things she supports yet. She really has not laid out policy in the way that you would want someone to lay out before deciding if you should or shouldn't vote for them. Which is why all the people going crazy are simply either reacting to the transgender part or they're reacting to the Republican part, which makes you, if you're one of those people, a very simple-minded person, a very black and white thinker. You're giving very much binary thinker. You're giving very much blind tribalism. I would vote for anyone whose policies lined up with what I thought were the best thing for the country. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, white, black, trans, none of that should matter. If you're like a normal, level-headed person, none of it should matter to you either. So on to my own personal experience with Caitlyn when I met her and went out to dinner with her. I did a full video on my second channel, so you can watch that to get the full picture. But to sum it up, I went out to dinner with Caitlyn Jenner, talked for hours about the Olympics, her being trans, politics, of course, all of that. And what I got out of my experience with Caitlyn was that she's a very authentic person, she's a very honest person, and that she cares a lot. And I really don't care what kind of narrative that goes against. I really don't care if it's unpopular to say that Caitlyn's a good person. This is based on my personal experience. Am I saying I know every detail of her life and intimate and I know her soul completely? No, but I do have a few hours more experience than most people. And I personally took away from it that she's a very good person. And I understand that obviously most people do not have a personal experience to pull from when thinking or talking about Caitlyn. I get that, but you know, there's mine, and take it for what it's worth. I will say that until she really lays out all of her policy positions and until she's more on record in long form, like really talking about what she wants to do for the state of California, I can't say for sure I would vote for her or for sure I would not vote for her. What I can say is I'm interested. And also, being under Gavin Newsom's governorship, I would literally vote for a triple amputee frog over Gavin Newsom, so she already has that going for her. And I'm willing to give Caitlyn a chance. With the amount of corrupt politicians that are out there, the amount of career politicians that make a living off of making your life and my life worse, like, why would you not hear someone out just because they're trans or just because they're a celebrity? I mean, she's an Olympic athlete who's lived a crazy life, who's seen a lot of stuff. My only concern really is that she's been an irregular voter over time. She has not voted in every election, so that is concerning. But other than that, like, I'm holding out until she says what she really wants to do. And I feel that any rational, level-headed person is also going to hold out until they actually hear what she's going to do. I love you guys. Make sure you subscribe to this channel as well as my second channel. I'll leave an annotation somewhere on the screen for you to do that. Make sure you follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok because I post on there way more than I do on here. So you have to follow those to keep up with me. and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.